Hi, Marily. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, you know what? I just heard Tesla launched an in car karaoke experience in China, and it was sold out in an hour. I'm like, what does it even mean, a karaoke system in the car? And why is Tesla doing it? Like, what's going on here?
This is so much fun. Well, I do have some thoughts and opinions about it. I feel it's beyond just the karaoke. It's the whole thing is beyond. It's more about like the new generation car infotainment products. If you've heard this term, infotainment. And how about we break this down today in today's product breakdown?
I love that. Let's do it.
Perfect. All right. So hi everyone. I'm Marily. I'm a product manager at Google.
Hi, this is Mayank. I'm a product manager at Facebook, and this is Product Breakdown. Every week we pick a new product, we break it down on why it's hot, what is their product strategy, and what does it mean for the users and the industry. Today we'll talk about Tesla's new feature on karaoke experience, rather expand that into their infotainment strategy. So, Marily, before we go deeper into the strategy, let's talk about what is this product. We talk about karaoke experience in Tesla. What are they talking about here?
Yes, this is really great. I was so curious to understand what's going on. I was reading a lot about it. So essentially what Tesla is doing, they are introducing an app in their infotainment package or system that can actually play music videos with lyrics. And they are giving a Tesla mic so that passengers can sing to it. And from what I see, it's mostly two people at the car that are parked. And so the huge screen that Tesla has just makes the experience better. And there are some areas in the world where karaoke is actually very, very much well perceived. It's very, very popular.
Yeah.
From what I see, they launched in China. I don't know if they plan to expand or not. I wish I could actually try it. This sounds great. But I do have to say, and this is probably a wise choice, they said it's only going to work when the car is parked, so not while people are driving. So what is your personal experience? Do you have a Tesla? Have you tried a Tesla? Would you use this product?
Yeah. Well, I know you have a Tesla. I don't have a Tesla, but I did go with my wife to test out one. I think this week. I mean, yeah, we went on Monday to test it out.
Nice.
Will I try it out? To be honest, I love the Tesla big screen, the screen it has as an infotainment or dashboard or digital experience within the car. It was mind-blowing to me. Well, will I use a karaoke? Depends. Why don't you tell me what do you think about it and how would you use it? Because you're so much into Tesla and you love the technology there.
Yes, I love it. I got it, I think, 3 weeks ago, so I'm still a newbie and I'm trying to learn. But essentially, as you probably know, Tesla is an EV car. So it's electric, meaning that you don't need gas. But you need to charge it often or depending on the mileage you get. So if let's say I go on a trip, I'll very likely need to make a charging stop. And charging can take anywhere from like 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so. And you kind of hang out in the car, you play with your phone. Or you can leverage the infotainment system that Tesla provides. Essentially, you can use streaming apps to watch like Netflix or Hulu and so on. Or you can use the games they have. It's actually fun. You can do multiplayer. It's really great. So just caveat, these things are not allowed when the car is moving. I think they used to allow these things when the car was moving in the past, but as of now, like they don't.
Scary.
So essentially, karaoke is an extra addition to this infotainment package, and it's just so interesting. As I said, I wish I could try it here in San Francisco.
Love it, love it. Marily, before we go into the product strategy, why don't you help us understand this infotainment world? Like, what is this? So, as you said in the beginning, karaoke is just a step towards something bigger that Tesla is thinking. Let's break down that big thing, or let's break down the infotainment concept.
Yeah. So infotainment, as it's obvious, you can see it's two words, so information and entertainment. So it's a set of apps that provide information about the car. It's essentially what you can do when you're looking at the screen. So information about the car, safety systems, and also entertainment. So streaming services, music, and gaming. I think you can even do Twitch. There's YouTube. I was on Netflix the other day. My daughter was excited because she could access all the baby shows. You can play games. They have actually a really great engine. I think it's a Tesla arcade games. There was something called the Beach Buggy Racing. You could race. It was as good as Mario Kart almost, Cuphead, and so on. So Infotainment is a collection of the information and entertainment.
Interesting. So it feels like all the other manufacturers, like this is nothing new. Like information was always on the dashboard. Initially it was analog, you press those buttons, and then slowly moving towards the touchscreen zone with some basic functions, then moving toward the mirroring zone through AndroidPlay and through Apple CarPlay. And then now Tesla has its own sort of an operating system that it has created more like an iPhone with an iOS, which they're using for providing entertainment as well. So why is this? Why are they sort of? I feel a lot of investment have been made on the information side of showing in a nice way on the screens, whether it's Mercedes or Audi and so on and so forth. What's your take on entertainment? Like, do you think Tesla's entertainment experience so far is way better than what you have seen in the other cars?
Absolutely, because in a way you have a laptop there. In a way you're at your home and you can access your TV and all your streaming services when you're just waiting for your car to charge. I think you take the whole car experience to the next level, and it's just so different than what we're used to. One thing I have to say for Tesla is that it doesn't feel like a regular car. And what I like a lot about infotainment is that you can update the apps. So you always get the sense that you have the latest version, so the most up-to-date software. And that's a great thing. It's not like a Toyota or an Audi that kind of, after a month or a year or 2 years kind of gets stale. I have to say here that previous older, actually, Tesla owners have options to upgrade their infotainment package and even have the screen upgraded and get it bigger in order for them to be able to access these streaming services. Love to hear what your initial take is. What do you think that the product strategy is behind all this?
I wish we could have Elon Musk on the show and hear from him, but let me try to break down the strategy looking at what we're seeing from outside. Yeah. Some facts initially, right? Like Tesla is the most valuable company in the world right now, from a car company, the automobile company in the world right now. And people are betting on its future. Obviously, the number of cars Tesla sells is way less than the cars sold by GM or Toyota combined together. So the question is, what's going on? What is the thinking? So from my perspective, I think the initial growth that Tesla saw came from one value prop to the users. We had the best EV car possible with the best mileage in the industry, 200 miles plus, now touching 300 miles plus. No car was providing that for a long, long time. It disrupted the space, and now we have new cars coming in. Every car manufacturer from Germany to Detroit is jumping into this and coming up with their own version. And this year, 2022, we'll see a series of cars coming out. So slowly, that value prop will not be a big differentiator. So that's number one. So you have to find a new differentiator that can help you grow further when this becomes a level playing field. That's fact number one. Fact number two, what are the possible differentiators? I see two possible differentiators. Number one is the EV charging network that Tesla has created silently, which is absolutely solid. Right? Unless it becomes a uniform charger for every car. I mean, that's a different story. But right now, we'll say that's like one differentiator. So you have that sort of luxury of charging anywhere you want. And the second differentiator is what we're talking about right now is the in-car experience. It has a head start over others.
Absolutely.
And this will become a big differentiator. So let's talk about why it is a differentiator. Now let's talk about the strategy. The facts are over. So it's a threefold strategy from how I see it. Number one, attracting new users with world-class infotainment system. Now, I have not heard anyone saying getting into the car when they see the big screen and the things it can do. To your point, there's Netflix, there's YouTube, there's everything you can imagine. Plus, there's new karaoke and gaming controllers coming in the future. Maybe you can't compete with them with a Volvo or a Mercedes or a Porsche because they're all partnering with a technology company to create something. It's very different than having your own system and building something exciting. So I think This experience will be the biggest differentiator. The in-car infotainment will attract new users, even if there are better cars available from an EV perspective. That's number one. Attract new users. Number two is exactly your point. They can push in updates remotely. Think about your iPhone.
Yeah.
iPhones are not the best phones or hardware perspective in the market right now. There are many phones that are better than iPhone from a camera perspective, processor perspective, so on and so forth. But what makes iPhone exciting is the way you see the new iOS updates coming in. That refreshes your phone. That makes your phone brand new. It's like a new shirt, making you feel like, I'm fresh today, a new person today.
User experience
That's
matters.
what
It's so important.
exactly. Exactly, because once you're in the car, you don't see the color of the car. You see the infotainment is the biggest thing you interact with, right? So delighting the existing customers so that they are involved in the Tesla ecosystem is the second point, through the infotainment and updates to it. And third is they're investing in the future in some form or the other. Like if you think about the future being completely self-driving, what do you do when you are in the car? I'm not saying 5 years from now. Maybe it is 5 years, but let's say 10 years from now. What do you do inside the car? It's the infotainment that you interact with. That's what they're investing in. So I think that's the threefold strategy I see playing around with this investment they're making. Anyway, jumping in, what's the business model then? Merely, like, there's a lot of happening there, but I do see, along with selling cars, Tesla is start to come up with a new business model. Like, we'll not make money just by selling cars, but something else. Tell us more about it. What's your perspective?
The first thing I want to say is that just a little comment on what you said about the strategy is that I think it was like 5 years ago I was in New York and I got a taxi from the New York the airport all the way to downtown Manhattan, and it was such a long ride. And the taxi had a screen there and I could use the screen, I could play games, I could watch anything I wanted, and just I didn't even realize how quickly the ride was went away. So that was pretty fantastic. So as far as the business model goes, as I said, I bought the car, I think it was 4 weeks ago, and I had automatically activated this kind of premium connectivity service of some sort. I could access all the web radio you can imagine. I could access live satellite traffic, so I could see what the best route was and so on. So there is this freemium service, and it's pretty sweet that they activate it on day one and they deactivate it after you've gotten used to it. So you kind of want it back. I think I'm definitely gonna activate that. So that's number one. Future is not in money from selling the car, but from selling the value added in the car services. So it's all these subscription models, it's the user experience and how you can leverage the user experience in terms of financially, like to your point before, like the iPhone, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that traditionally these companies were selling cars and making money. So fine, you'll still make money, some money there. But eventually, they'll move towards the value-added service through technology. To your point, the premium package, just for context, I think it's $11,000 to activate the automated self-driving car, right, services, which is not a hardware, just a software update that turns it on versus being off. So the hardware is in the car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and people...
It's kind of crazy.
And people get it because the value added is just immense. And it used to be lower, I have to say. So they increased it.
It used to be lower, right? Yeah.
So
yeah. And just for context, that's $11,000 to $12,000. That's about 10 to 15% of the car's value based on what car you buy. That's pretty huge. Like it's pretty big, in terms of what it is. Interesting. I love that freemium model and also selling value-added service beyond just the car. Exciting. Marily, we are right on track on time. What's next in this space? Tell us more about your predictions on the space.
There's one more thing that I feel or realize when I invested in a Tesla car, which is I did feel that part of the amount I paid for this car was me supporting the R&D in this new space. So I'm happily giving money in order to see, the research and development and how things evolve. And because I love the concept of new technology and so on. So I'm supporting this cause. So that's something else I wanted to say. That's not necessarily, in the business model. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's early adopters that want to support the company. So what's next in this area? I can imagine super cool games controllers that can attract gamers to buy Tesla. I know that, we're far away from Xbox or a Nintendo type of device, but think about it. You can be in the car and you can actually have a great in-game experiences within your Tesla car if you're not the driver. Now, of course, there are many issues there, privacy and security and safety and so on. But I can see Tesla figuring out ways to tackle this. Number two, I'd love to see more localized content and experiences, meaning I'd love to see Tesla identifying new cultural experiences and building infotainment experiences around it. A good example is Starbucks. If you go to different countries in Starbucks, and I'm Greek, so when I went to Greece, Starbucks had specific drinks that would make more sense in Greece. Or even McDonald's, they had specific things locally.
Same for India, yeah, totally.
Okay, so I think there's an opportunity there, and people would adopt it more. It would go viral. People would like to install these, I don't know, localized packages, if you will, or even pay for this. And last but not least, a Tesla App Store can have a lot of value, right? App Store, marketplace, or even where developers can upload their own developed apps for Tesla. Of course, there's going to be a lot of privacy issues and so on, but hey, these are new verticals, and I'm just excited to see where things go.
Love it. All
right, I think we're right about the time. Mayank, would you like to summarize?
Let's do it. Tesla has launched a new feature in China, karaoke in the car. Karaoke experience in the car while the car is stationary. It was sold in 1 hour. Insane demand. People think they'll love it. We think they will love it. We will love it too. But it's a bigger play than karaoke. It's an infotainment play where they're focusing on making the in-car experience better as a differentiator against other car manufacturers in the world right now. We think this is also a step towards focusing on value-added service to further monetization in the car experience space versus just by making money on selling the cars, which is a brand new way of thinking about how this industry is evolving. Let us know what you feel about that. That's all for this week.
And that's all for this week. Remember, please subscribe to our channel, download our podcast, spread the word. We're breaking down niche product areas, and we do need your help to keep this going. So we really appreciate it, and reach out if you have any comments. Thank you.
Bye.